Welcome to Nationals Park. Steven Strasburg standing tall out there in left field. Hopefully the same on the mound today. The man is unbeaten. Supposed to make his return today. Some unusual circumstances surrounding that return. We'll bring you up to date here. How about right now? Bob and FP, welcome to a cloudy day at the ballpark. Unusual situation. Steven Strasburg technically is still on the disabled list. Game time decision whether he pitches or not. He's been out there doing his thing, getting ready, stretching for about 30 minutes. But there's been somebody else out there too. Yeah,
I think cloudy day is the absolute perfect way to describe it. We don't know what's going on right now. About a half hour ago, check this out. Lucas Giolito on red alert. Cleats on, glove in hand. He's in the bullpen while Steven Strasburg is warming up. He would sit in the chair, then go back up in the tunnel to give Steven some room, or maybe not let the cameras catch him down there. But he's there in case Steven can't go. The most watched warm-up session I can remember since being here. I'm watching Steven, looking for any signs. If you can hear the applause in the background, that must be him walking in right now. But look at the 21-year-old Giolito not knowing what's going on. There's Strasburg going in the dugout. So obviously something to keep an eye on today. A lot of drama here before the first pitch.
Steven got a great hand as he came in from the bullpen a moment ago. And the unusual situation where we can predict almost that a player is going to go on the disabled list, or at least a roster move made. Giolito about to be optioned back, we think, to the minor leagues. So Strasburg looks like he's a go. Danny Espinosa is definitely a go. The home run bat reared its ugly head for the opposition again last night. Kept the Nats in that game until it got late. Danny, Steven, and the Nats coming up against the Reds. Baseball on Masson, brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. By Airlines for America, where airplanes land, opportunity takes off. And by visitannapolis.org. Create your moment at visitannapolis.org. Cloudy day, kind of cool but muggy here in the district, in the capital. A day before the 4th, Steven Strasburg out there throwing the ball to Wilson Ramos. So the game time weather, 73 degrees. Look at that humidity. It's up there at 63%. Weather in the forecast for later, hopefully not affecting the ball game. The Reds are hitting .238, third from the bottom in the National League, but don't blame Joey Votto. Coming off a fantastic month of June when he hit .319. He likes our ballpark, and in this series, even though he got scratched last night, rather 2 nights ago, 5 out of 9 with a homer and a couple of doubles. Joey Votto also 3 for 10 career with 2 home runs against Steven Strasburg. All right, here we go. 27-year-old right-hander back out there, FP, 15th start.
Yeah, last start was on June 15th against the Cubs. He gave up just 1 run on 6 hits over 7 innings, struck out 8 Cubbies, 1 walk, got the no decision in that one. So fastball, slider, curveball change. The fastball this year has been averaging 95 miles an hour, and here we go.
By the way, for those of you who think you might not see Lucas Giolito again, you might be wrong. Joe Ross officially just put on the disabled list with right shoulder inflammation. Also a game time decision. We're underway at 1:36. And it's in there to Zach Cozart. So Lucas Giolito still in the big leagues. If you count the days until Ross's next start, that would be Thursday in New York. So there's Joe. Didn't have much swing and miss stuff last night. Got roughed up by the Reds. And the count goes to 2-1 here against Cozart. Joe Ross last night, 5 1/3, 10 hits, 4 runs. Didn't walk anybody, couple of strikeouts. And Strasburg misses away, 3-1.
Lucas in the bullpen right now.
Yeah, and the big thing, Lucas still in the big leagues. Cubs and Mets have traded first inning runs up in New York. How about that? The Mets are looking to sweep Chicago. Strasburg misses and he walks his first man.
Velocity's there, 97. Here's defense for your Nats today behind Steven Strasburg. Worth, Taylor, Harper the outfield. Michael Taylor gets the start against the left-hander. Espinosa Rendon left side. Murphy Zimmerman right side. And Buffalo Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
Michael A. Taylor back in the lineup. 0 for 3, a walk, hit by a pitch in this series. Ben Revere had quite a ride last night. Wow, was he great. Good pitch. Up in the zone, outside edge. 11-year veteran Adrian Johnson has the plate. Ramon De Jesus at first. Gary Cedarstrom, the crew chief, at second base. He's on the infield grass right now. And Eric Cooper at third. Looking to bunt is Jose Peraza, facing Strasburg for the first time. 0-2. He's 1 for 7 with an RBI in this series.
Boy, if I had a guy coming off the DL, his first start since June 16th, I think I'd make him throw some strikes first before I gave him an out on a sacrifice. And you can only imagine what Steven Strasburg is going through right now. You know, kind of thinking a lot, feeling if there's anything going on. And I know this, they wouldn't send him out there if there was a doubt that he could hurt himself anywhere, so.
Right. Steven kind of doing some minor housekeeping on the landing area down there. Now he'll clean off the spikes. Zach Cozart is a leadoff guy who does virtually no running. He's 1 for 2 this year. Reds, thanks to Hamilton, a couple of other guys, are a good running team with 58 steals. 0-2, nobody out.
I mean, it's the most watched warm-up session in a long time. I had my binoculars out watching Steven down the bullpen. It's the first time I used him for something baseball related in a long time.
Well, Strasburg's warm-up was an event every time starting in June of 2010. You should have seen the people lining the bullpen area just to watch and hear that pop of the mitt. But since then, you're right. Widely watched, closely scrutinized, and here he is on an 0-2 pitch. And that's a backhand pick by Wilson Ramos. Steven against Cincinnati, 1-1, 5.55 ERA, 5 starts. Season series, this is the rubber game. 3-3. Each team has won 2 out of 3 at home so far. And a 1-2 pitch, well hit to right, but slicing foul. How about some game notes? Steven Strasburg. How about this? 2.36 ERA, 13-0 last 18 starts going, 4 starts into last year. Danny Espinosa on base like crazy, along with the power for which he is hitting. And then John Lamb, last 2 road starts pretty good. His first 2 were really bad. Career, he is 2-9. We'll see him in a moment. 25-year-old lefty. Right now, Strasburg unable to throw the ball past Peraza.
My favorite Strasburg stat: the Nats are 24-3 in Steven's last 27 starts. That is amazing. 24-3.
It's all about winning, right?
Absolutely.
And that's a lot of winning. Feisty at bat. Good battle by Jose Peraza.
There it is. 10-0 record in his last 14, 24-3 in his last 27. And he seems like he has confidence in the fastball and only the fastball here early.
Joey Votto, number 3 spot today. Hit second the first 2 games of the series. And then late in that marathon game the other night, he had a slide and he was scratched just before first pitch last evening.
You know, usually we've seen Steven throughout the years, he likes to get to his off speed early to get a feel for it. So if there's ever any big situation he needs to get out of, he's not just breaking out his curveball slider. Then, so far in this 10 pitch at bat, he's thrown pretty much all fastballs, if not all fastballs.
And a breaking ball. 82 on the hook, and Jason Worth for the first out. Votto and Bruce, the next 2 dangerous left-handed batters. He's had a good series, couple of doubles, home run. So his month of July off to a good start after he hit well over 300 in June.
2 doubles, 1 home run, and 0 souvenirs given to fans.
Thus a few boos that you might have heard. Three-game hitting streak for Joey, 6 for his last 11. So of those 14 homers against the Nats, 2 against Steven Strasburg. 1-0 pitch. Good rip. Now starting to mix in. Got the curveball to retire Peraza. Slider there to the left-handed batter. One. Infield to pull. Not a big shift or anything. And the count goes 2-1. That's a strike, probably a called strike. Didn't look like a swing.
I think it was a slider. I'm trying to decide if it was a changeup or a slider, but I think it was just a slider that spun up there and acted like a changeup. Joey Votto obviously sitting 2-1 fastball, took it, thought it was up. Now he's going to slide his hands a little higher on the bat with 2 strikes.
Target, outer edge. Strasburg goes out there with the changeup, and the count's full. And we'll see if Zach Cozart is on the move here. Full count, 1 out.
I wonder if he stays that far choked up in a 3-2 count now.
Runner is going. Ball 4. That's Joey Votto's 53rd walk. He's in the top 4 in the National League. Now Steven has to deal with Jay Bruce, who's 5 out of 10 career against him.
I don't know if I'm seeing uncomfortable Rusty or uncomfortable. I'm still trying to figure it out. Could be either or.
Middle of June, the 15th, last time Steven started the ball game. That was here against the Cubs. And that 5-4 win, 7 innings, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 run, 6 hits. Looked great. 105 pitches that night. And that was only 2 starts after he last faced the Reds. And this will pop up to the left side. Anthony Rendon. Foul ball, 2 outs.
Pretty good pitch to Jay Bruce right here. Looked like a slider at 91, just a little cut to it at the end, cutter slider.
Mercedes-Benz breaking down a pitch that gets an important second out. Here's Eugenio Suarez. He's been on base 6 times in the series. This one into right center. It's tailing back to Bryce Harper. Strasburg can exhale. So can all of us for now. And he leaves a couple of base runners in a scoreless top of the 1st. Yeah, Harper, that young man will be batting 3rd. We go. By the way, that was a 25-pitch, 15-strike first inning for Steven Strasburg. So it's Taylor up at the top, Worth, Harper, Wilson Ramos, in the middle of those 4, 5, 6 guys, he's just been fantastic. 4-12 against the Reds. 6 runs, 6 games. Overall, he sits safely 13 of his last 15 ball games. A .351 clip. He's been on base in this series 5 times. John Lamb, 25 years of age, 2-9 career.
The fastball average is 90. He can run up to 93, 94. He'll elevate it with 2 strikes, try to get you to chase. He cuts the fastball, 2-seam, 4-seam, curveball, change to go with it. Curveball 68, change 74. Last start against the Cubs, he threw 6 innings, gave up just 2 runs. One of those was a leadoff home run to Ben Zobrist on an 0-2 pitch.
Gone 7 a couple of times this year at Colorado, which is always an accomplishment. June 1st and then June 7th at home against St. Louis, 7 1/3. Taylor pops one up foul. That will be out of play over the Nats dugout.
The Reds defense today behind John Lamb, Peraza, Hamilton, Bruce your outfield, Cozart, Suarez left side, Phillips, Votto right side, Ramon Cabrera behind the plate.
Cabrera playing in just his 23rd game of the year. Way slow, way off speed. He's their Jose Lobaton. He's played in 24 games for the Nats. Whether he frames like Jose remains to be seen. Off speed gets Taylor for the first out.
Saw something you don't usually see the other day. John Lamb between starts running the stairs here at Nats Park right before Nationals batting practice. That's really not odd, except for that guys usually run it earlier than that. But he had his whole uniform on. Full metal jacket, running the stairs here. Hat, BP jersey, pants, stirrups, everything.
Went to high school, Laguna Hills, California. Originally drafted by Kansas City, 5th round 8 years ago. And that's a strike call.
It's a battle of long hair right here.
He came over with Brandon Finnegan and Cody Reed in the Johnny Cueto deal from the Royals, July 26th of last year.
I think Jason's is a little longer. I'm an analyst. I analyzed. That's what I do. So
it's been around 12 years longer.
It's never that long, though, was it? I mean, we should show a shot in 2011, Jason Worth. he barely had a goatee and his hair was pretty short.
I thought he was a quite handsome young fellow. Not that he isn't now. He just All-American boy from Springfield, Illinois. 1-2 with 1 out. Wow. Jason gave up on it. That came diving in. According to Adrian Johnson, still caught the edge.
Pretty good pitch right here. Locked him up. Look at this curveball. It's high and then it's low and it's somewhere in between. Enough to be called strike 3 by Adrian Johnson. There it's high.
Yeah.
And there it's low. But maybe when it crossed the plate, it was a strike. Who knows?
Bryce Harper this weekend against the Reds. 3 hits, an RBI, a walk. Only one Nationals ever had an AB against this lefty, and that's the guy on deck. Harper's first one's going to be good, though. Base hit to right center. That'll keep the inning alive for Daniel Murphy.
Well, there goes a no-hitter, Bryce Harper, getting the first knock of the day for the Nats. Looks like he got a cut fastball out over the plate. Get it by Brandon Phillips. You're doing something right. And Dusty had a talk with Bryce the other day after the game about that ball off the wall. Said, I need you on second. Bryce said he knew. And that was the end of that. Won't happen again.
One for one Murphy against Lamb career. Reds have done a good job against Daniel. Only 3 for 13. Couple of doubles. Driven in. 2. The threat of a throw has Harper diving back in. Nats are up to 50 steals on the year in 73 attempts. 6th most in the league. Harper has 11 of those. It's kind of interesting. Lamb from the very first base side of the pitching rubber. I guess that would shorten that throw a little bit over to first. When you look from right behind the umpire, catcher, and hitter, it's kind of an interesting perspective on where he's landing, or rather starting where he appears to be landing. Murphy into short center for Cozart. That's it for the Nats in the first inning. No score, Sunday afternoon. Nats looking for 3 out of 4 with a win today.
Well, everybody wishes they had air like Bryce, but now you can recreate the MVP's salad with the Bryce Harper Chia Fro. First 20,000 fans at Nats Park on Tuesday, July 5th. You receive a Bryce Harper Chia Fro when the Nats take on the Brewers at 7:05. Visit nationals.com/tickets to get your Chia Fro. The Chia Pet, but that looks like a fro, so I'm going with it. Dirty, I like it.
Top of the second, yeah, base hit going into second. Stopping there on the Murphy pop-up that ended the inning. And here's Strasburg against Brandon Phillips, who's batting 6th today. Career numbers against Steven, not bad. 4 hits and RBI, 13 at bats, ball 1. Phillips in the series 4 for 12. He's driven in 1. Ball laced into right center. Taylor got a good read on it, quickly to his left. Strasburg has retired for the last 5. Rocket Arms from Quicken Loans. So before the All-Star break, guys 10-0 or better. Goes back to old-timers Atlee Donnell and Brooks Lawrence. Roy Face, he was a great right-hander for many years for the Pirates. Dave McNally, the Orioles lefty. That was the year they were upset by the Mets in the series, and Strasburg joins that roster.
Hopefully.
Billy Hamilton. Nats have controlled his running game by controlling him, just 1 for 10, though he has walked 3 times. Counts even, 1-1. He had Zimmerman back at first base. Rendon starting the at-bat, shallow at third. Two for 5 career with a walk against Strasburg. 1-1 pitch. That's a beauty. 82 on the curve. It came back in for a strike.
So you would imagine a guy like Steven Strasburg that really relies on rhythm and getting into the flow of a game would take a second after being on the DL. And every start, it usually takes him at least 2 innings to get into that rhythm. And once he does, it's just like a freight train.
got him on a low 80s pitch. Looked like another hook. So he's moving that curveball around. Nissan will track it.
Well, he threw one for a strike. You see the one in the zone, and this one Billy Hamilton has to commit. On top, out in front, you see the rotation. And look at the break on that Steven Strasburg curveball. Wow.
Ramon Cabrera, the catcher. Michael A. Taylor caught a line drive. Now he's going to catch a short fly ball. And Steven Strasburg with a very quick top of the second inning. So welcome back to the rotation, sir.
BC. Yesterday technically marked the first game of the second half of the season. The Nationals finishing the first half with 49 wins, 32 losses, which puts them on a 98-win pace for this season. Dusty Baker and his ball club would certainly take that. Pretty strong season overall. Dusty said he views this portion of the schedule a couple ways. First, he wants to gain momentum through the All-Star break. Then you want to carry that momentum into the second half. He compared it to basketball. When you make a three, then steal the inbound pass, then make another bucket. He says you get that momentum and things get rolling, and then a 2-point lead can turn into a 10-point lead pretty quickly. Same thing goes when it comes to increasing a division lead. As far as what he wants to see improved in the second half, Dusty's been pretty pleased overall with his ball club. Says the only thing that he wants to see a little more of, those clutch RBI hitting situations. So Dusty liking what he saw in the first half, wants to keep that momentum going through the All-Star break and coming out of it.
All right, Dan, here's Ramos. How about some momentum with that swing? Left center, see you later. Bullpen, his 13th, and the Nats are on top.
So did you see that? Jose Lobaton's the only guy that gets 2 horns because he's a catcher. And the other guys get 1 horn and then a fist off the horn, which I love. Not as much as the swing, and we'll see that in a second. 1-0 Nats.
Here's Zimmerman. I thought Ryan might be hacking first pitch. It requires a good play by Suarez. 1 out, second inning.
Some knocks from the skipper, the Buffalo, with his 13th home run on the year. A no-doubter to left center. Might have been a changeup. Let's see again. Yeah, it looked like he let up on that. 74 miles an hour. Ramos caught it out front. And the home run he gave up to Ben Zobrist in his last start against the Cubs was an 0-2 changeup. This one right out of the gate, and Wilson knows what to do with it.
Last 16 games, 7 homers, 19 RBIs for Ramos.
103, 412.
The Nats now with 109 home runs. You know, that was a great report by Dan. The only guys that aren't cooperating with that are the Chicago Cubs. Now they're trailing again at New York. They've lost 3 in a row. Am I seeing that right? 8-1 in the second inning. Mets. Yikes.
Bryce tried to snag Wilson Ramos's bat for his next at bat. Is that what's going on there? It's like that one works.
Why not?
Remember when Adam LaRoche just grabbed Jason Worth's bat a couple years ago and said, I'm going to try this, and it worked. I don't know. Bryce had a single first time up. Maybe Wilson used Bryce's bat. We'll do some detective work and get back to you. Watch John Lamb's arm speed here. He really slows down, and big league hitters can kind of notice stuff like that. You know, a good changeup has almost the identical arm speed as the fastball. It's just a different grip. That one, he kind of slowed everything down.
Yeah, that's a good call. I remember Jamie Moyer saying years ago, as long as the hitter is seeing the same angle and the same motion, you can throw as many change-ups as you want. To answer the question, what are you changing up off of? Well, it doesn't always matter. But if the hitter sees something different, you guys are pretty smart at this level and know what to do with it.
Well, don't include me on a swung and missed event.
We're still basking in the home runs from both sides of the plate the other night by your current career imitator, Danny Espinosa. I mean, if Vince Scully says you guys look alike, that's good enough for me.
Well, he's way stronger than I've ever dreamed of being.
That he is. So fast, so strong, such a good shortstop.
He's got as many home runs as Bryce Harper, for crying out loud. Danny Espinosa with 16.
Unbelievable what he's doing.
He's on pace to hit 30 as a shortstop.
Danny's career high, we've mentioned this a few times. Why not again as he inches closer? 21 homers with 66 RBIs in his first full big league season, 2011. That was in 158 games. 17 the following year in 160 games. Already 3 beyond his total of last year. Look at that, 32 at-bats per homer in his previous 668 games. Then he just takes that and in what, 5% of the games just shreds it. Brought to you by Jeep. He's going to get a base hit there. There's the other thing about Espinosa. He's also now collecting his singles and doubles, and he's been on base 13 of his last 27 plate appearances.
That was a broken bat single. There was no broken bats involved in the taters that Danny Espinosa's hit in this series against the Reds. That was a grand slam. Then he flips around to the other side. Next at bat goes 3-run tater, so 7 stakes in 2 swings. And then last night, home run number 16 to make it a 4-3 game out of nowhere. A 2-run shot, so I mean, the most dangerous 8th place hitter period in the game.
Great opportunity for Strasburg to move some runners. That bunt's going to do it absolutely perfectly. Votto to Phillips on a 3-4. Stevens' 3rd sacrifice this year, 34th of his career, and that was perfect. Here's Taylor. Boy, Ramos woke up everybody, and it appears to me that the word has spread up and down the dugout pretty quickly about what the Nats want to do to approach John Lamb here. They've had some great at-bats in this inning. Hadn't seen him before except for Murphy. Full windup against Taylor, and he's just been victimizing Michael with off-speed stuff. Amazing the difference and what the early part of the at-bat means to Michael A. Taylor.
Pretty interesting throw back by Ramon Cabrera right there. Lamb had to reach up and catch it.
1-1 pitch. 2-1. He retired Jason Worth first time up, but Worth did come into the game 405 against left-handed pitching this year, the best of any National League hitter. So he doesn't want this thing to go any farther. Taylor's going to chop one left side. Now the race is on, but it's going to be well played by Suarez. Wilson Ramos to the bullpen, puts the Nats on top to lead off the inning. 13th of the year, 45 RBIs, and the homers piling up for the Buffalo as well. He just keeps slamming them. 64 career. At home, Lowe's. And the home field advantage. The Nats have played 2 more games than the Cubs. They've got the same number of wins. Now, these are numbers since the beginning of 2011, so right there with the very best in baseball. This year, the Nats are on a 5-1 homestand, 25-13, 11 of their last 13. Only the Cubs, a better percentage. They're 25-11. The pitcher, John Lamb, 1 for 15 this year, 2 for 31 career. Strasburg pours one in there, 1-1. 3rd inning underway.
The Cubs can't wait to get out of New York. You see that score?
Yeah, just
about to get swept. 8-1.
The Reds are going to Wrigley to meet the Cubs tomorrow. Leaving tonight, playing tomorrow. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Quickly disposing of the opposing pitcher. Strasburg 6 in a row retired, 2nd strikeout.
That was $37. Toyota Case for Kids. Washington area Toyota dealers are making that donation to the Children's Inn at NIH for every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this season. I'll tell you what, right when you think the Mets are out of it, they do something like sweep the Cubs. They won't go away.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they did not look good here at Nats Park. They go home and about to sweep the Cubs.
Yeah, they have the Marlins coming in before the Nationals get there. Miami at Atlanta is the Sunday night game.
From Fort Bragg.
Isn't that cool?
So cool.
I saw some photos of the ballpark they built there. Fantastic. Seats 12,500. Looks like a big league ballpark. It reminds me of old Jerry Park in Montreal.
Yeah.
The single deck all the way around, some bleacher seats out there. That'll be really interesting and fun to watch. First Major League Baseball game, obviously, ever in the state of North Carolina. So they're excited, but only the servicemen and women get in, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the first ever on an active military base.
You know, it's not like laying a basketball court on an aircraft carrier. It's a little different.
It's a great idea. I love it.
I know. Jose Peraza, fly ball to left at the end of a 10-pitch at bat, first inning. He was the first man Strasburg retired. Now on a bouncer to Murphy. Stevens going to make it 9 of the last 10. Another quick inning. 8 pitches last inning and a handful here. He's on a roll.
Nothing Nats, bottom of the third. Herbert Hoover and family all hanging out at Nats Park. Don't worry, kids. The floor is always pristine condition here at Nats Park. Celebrate America's 240th birthday. 240 years. Independence Day game tomorrow. It's 11 o'clock, so set your alarm clocks. That's super early. Watch the Nationals take on the Brewers and get your 4th of July series and festivities underway. Visit nationals.com/tickets for more info.
Oof.
11 o'clock right there. See 11.
Yeah. Are some of you out there who remember the bicentennial in 1976 and what a big deal it was? Starting to feel a little aged. So that's now for Lamb. 10 of his last 11 first pitch strikes. Jason swinging, and it's 0-2. All the Nats hits so far, Harper's single, Ramos homer, and Espinosa's base hit have been on the first pitch of those at-bats. So we are 40 years beyond the bicentennial. Amazing. And the English said it wouldn't last. 0-2. Jason, a couple of hits, 4 walks in the series. Now it's back even.
So throw goes down to second, throw goes around the infield, and then Eugenio Suarez and John Lamb have this little tradition. Look at Lamb. Strike. And doing it every inning.
I've been dying to see a left-handed catcher. Finally we get one. In there. Worth frozen. That's the second time Lamb has struck him out. First time was with a curveball. That one cutting in on Jason a little harder than the hook. Bryce Harper had a big hit, capping off a 3-run 8th inning for the Nats last night against the shift. Well, not much of a shift, really, just to the right of the shortstop. Espinosa had homered. That made it 4-4, but before things got ugly in the top of the 10th, and the Reds scored 5 to win going away.
So what do you do in your scorebook with your scorebook on the days we're not here?
Well, I came to the game with my family last night, thought about keeping score, and decided to go for family time. So I got the post-game summary, cut it up, did a little cutting and pasting, and it's in the scorebook as if an official game would be, because I always want to have every box score.
Wait, you decided not to keep score, or Mrs. C said, Bob, you're not keeping score tonight. It's family night at the ballpark.
2-1 to Bryce Harper here with one out in the third.
I thought I knew the answer to that one.
No, she was really okay with it. I just wanted to hang with my girls, and we had a great time last night. Ballpark was awfully quiet for a long time, and then finally everybody had something to cheer about in the 8th inning. Straley was really, really good. He only, gave up 3 hits when he was taken out. There's a big slow curve to Bryce.
66 on the curveball. That's approaching Livan Hernandez range.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, watch the big hook right here. Wow.
All the years, I don't think Mercedes has gone 66 on our show until just then.
You go reverse in a Mercedes 66.
Yeah. Harper waiting for that one. Hits it well out to center. Hamilton there. 2 down, 3rd inning. Bryce has made some more serious long distance contact in this series. Next up is Murphy. In a series, the Reds have pitched him as well as anybody has all year. 3 for 14 here. At Great American Ballpark, he was 0 for 8 going into Sunday before he exploded for a homer, 2 singles, and 3 RBIs.
This is just a crazy theory, and I don't know if there's numbers to back it up based on what I've seen. Daniel Murphy feasts on people in his division because he does so much homework and is such a smart hitter and is so cerebral up there. The more times he faces you, the better he's going to be. And maybe he's human against teams that he sees, 6 times a year versus teams that he sees 19 times.
Yeah.
Seems like he kills the Mets. He kills the Marlins. He's had good games against the Phillies. All in his division because he knows what's up.
And that's interesting because if you take those 18 or 19 games and times them by the 4 teams, that's not far under half of your schedule for the whole year that you play in the division. Anywhere from usually 72 to 76 games. That's good theory.
You know how guys are going to work you. Maybe you know tendencies of catchers.
Yeah.
Maybe certain guys tip their pitches, and you know that because you face them so much.
2-2 to Murphy. He's going to get that big slow curveball. It's out into right field where the throw is made by Suarez. They take their 3rd baseman and put him in right field. Ramos homer, 1-0. Weekend, our troops and their families on our minds, maybe a little more than usual, and the usual is a lot around here. So it's our DynCorp International Troop Recognition, and it's brought to you by DynCorp International, proudly serving our nation for 70 years. Big day tomorrow. 11 a.m. baseball. Keep your fingers crossed for the weather and the big crowds and the fireworks.
Hopefully.
Top of the fourth, here's Joey Votto. Base on balls first time.
I heard some Reds beat writers in the elevator today coming up talking about 11 a.m. start tomorrow. Are you kidding me? What's going on?
Oh man, those laptops are heavy at that time of the day.
It's the greatest day of the year. You're done by 1:30, 2 o'clock. You get to celebrate the 4th with all your friends.
They won't be complaining when they're in Chicago for a late dinner.
That's what I'm saying. It's. I said I thought that too in 2011, and now it turns out it's, besides opening day, the best day of the year at the yard.
It's cool. 2-0. Steven tried to get the inside edge. Could this be the one batter that Strasburg and Ramos mentally circled today? 3-0 pitch. Joey pumping. He's going to get his usual numbers, isn't he? You were talking about this about an hour and a half ago. Got hot in June.
Yeah, good balance. Head came out there a little bit. He got big on the 3-0 hack trying to tie the game. I like that swing. Joey Votto is a lot more comfortable than he was last time we saw him. He was anything but.
Now it's 3-2 with some good Sunday hardball on a 96 heater.
That's big league hitting right there. My goodness. 3-2, you're sitting fastball, and you're able to foul off that curveball to get another chance. That's stuff minor league hitters don't do, folks. That was impressive. Get excited about a foul ball? Heck yeah. Most guys are out right now, sitting back in the dugout. '96, '97, someone's getting loose.
These are the kind of matchups you love in baseball. Nissan tracking the AB. Murphy short right field. Outfield the other way except for Harper. And Joey Votto's always had a great batting eye. Second walk of the day, 54th of the year. And for Strasburg, his third. Let's go back to 2005. Dusty Baker managed Cubs at Wrigley Field, July 3rd. Brian Schneider to the bleachers. Aramis Ramirez 2-run shot with 2 outs in the ninth tied it, and to Chad Cordero's 26 straight saves. But the Nats won it on Schneider's second career extra inning homer. That was in the 12th. And the Nationals reached 50 wins that year, earlier than at any time in franchise or baseball in DC history. He's now a catcher's coach with the Marlins, and it's so great to see Brian every time we play them now. Fan favorite here, one of the great leaders on the ball clubs of those early years. Here's Jay Bruce. Busted bat, foul ball.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one today, look forward to Miller Time later in the ball game. That is brought to you by Miller Lite.
Bruce, top 4 in the league in extra base hits. Not a situation here, but with runners in scoring position, he's third, having just a great year. Nets have pitched him well. 2 for 14, now 15 in this series with 1 batted in. Espinosa up the middle, Murphy On the infield dirt here with a runner aboard. And an 0-2 fastball upstairs. Then the changeup stays outside. Nationals have turned 79 double plays now, second in the National League. Swing and a foul tip and a strikeout. Number 3 for Steven Strasburg.
Even though he walked Joey Votto to lead off this inning, I'm seeing that rhythm thing start to happen with Steven, that he looks a lot more comfortable second, third, now fourth inning, settling into this ball game, getting loose, if you will, and then challenging Jay Bruce with a heater that he can't catch up with. And I think you're right. Joey Votto's the guy that's not beating him today. They made that clear, and he tried to make a perfect 3-2 pitch. Fish wasn't biting, but the stuff is there for sure.
Here's Suarez, fly ball to short right, first time.
And maybe that first inning's a feeling out process. If you've had injuries before and you're kind of waiting for something and you feel good, but you're still feeling it out, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm good, we're good, here we go, let's do this. It's kind of the feeling I've had, and why I mentioned he was uncomfortable in the first inning, maybe kind of treading lightly, so to speak. Now he's just letting it rip.
Yeah, 18 days in between starts.
I know all the lower half injuries I had as a player. The first time out of the box run to first base, you're just going, okay, am I good? I know I passed all the tests with the trainers. I did everything I was supposed to. We checked all the boxes, but that game speed, you know, fast twitch come and turn it up a notch. It's a different story. You can't replicate it in anything you do in a rehab of an injury.
The 1-1 pitch. Rendon, fair ball. Murphy turning it. And Suarez gets there. A couple of long throws on that attempt at 5-4-3.
A couple fully stretched infielders right there, everywhere you can be. First, Anthony Rendon going way to his right. Watch this play and get rid of it quick. Sidearm, underhand, whatever you want to call it. And Daniel Murphy stayed in there tough trying to finish the double play, but I don't think a perfect feed would have turned it. But did you see how quick Anthony Rendon got rid of that? Wow.
He has played Gold Glove third base this year. The only problem is a guy in Colorado who's made one error this year. Nolan Arenado. Here's Brandon Phillips, hit the ball hard, lined out to Taylor first time.
So
hacking.
As a big league infielder, the game moves so fast, you have to throw the ball right from where you catch it. If Anthony Rendon stands up right here to throw, everybody's safe. So he's thinking double play. Watch where he throws this ball from as his right leg slides out. Right down where he caught it and getting rid of it quick. I mean, that's underhand. Dan Quisenberry would have been proud of that one back in the day, the way he threw that ball. But he got rid of it so quick. Why? Because he's thinking, even though it's hit this far to my right, if I get rid of this quick, I'll give Daniel Murphy a chance. Game moves so fast up here.
That may be as much outside break on a curveball as we've seen from Strasburg recently. This was a wide swing and a miss, and it's 0-2 to Brandon Phillips. Votto close to first base. Strasburg not in too big of a hurry to get the inning over. Still wants to make his pitch. Or make Phillips hit his pitch. Gets the ground ball to Rendon. Now the sidearm goes to first, and that's it. Strasburg a couple of more ground ball outs, having quite a day. Upon his return, Ramos to lead off.
Bottom of the fourth inning. It's time for some key in the driver's seat. We're going to go back to the second frame. Wilson Ramos leading her off. First pitch changeup. Not changing up off of anything, and Wilson hits it deep to left field. I think 412 feet is what we told you. So somebody on Twitter came up with a good name for tomorrow. The Bicentennial, B-I-S-O-N. Tennial celebration. I like that. Very clever. 2 horns up for the Buffalo. There he is. Ooh, looks like those horns have had a few too many beers today.
Oh, to have season tickets behind him. Bottom of the fourth, here he comes. In the series, 3 for 9, a homer, 2 RBIs. On base 6 times. The story of the emergence of Wilson Ramos continues. Not biting on a hook.
Those were the antlers from Christmas that guy had on, right? You know, the ones you put on your car?
Probably. For some people, close enough.
I mean, it's close. Although they do have the little ears there. So he's eliminated the changeup, right? Hit it out first pitch. So now as a hitter, you look somewhere else. Curveball, fastball, sit on something different.
Taking the heater, and it's 2-1. Inside the numbers. It's getting very interesting at the top of the home run heap on this ball club. 6 in double figures. Bryce Harper was so far ahead of everybody early. Espinosa's surge, Ramos' consistency, Murphy's consistency, things to watch. And Ryan Zimmerman getting his share with Worth in there too. Yeah, homer one time, you pitcher on him the next time. Second walk by John Lamb today. Geico President's Race, and I'll just give you a hint. It's Herbert Hoover bobblehead day. He started in 5th place in this race. And it's a good thing he and his first lady, Lou Hoover, survived that Christmas Eve fire at the White House in 1929, or he wouldn't be here to do that.
West Wing fire. Must have been a heck of a party.
They said that there were 200,000 pamphlets stacked in the attic that caught on fire. And that just goes to show, get rid of the old paperwork. Get it out.
I mean, you're burning down the White House. That's a good party, in my opinion. That's one I want to be at.
Yeah, but there are a lot of kids there. They had to get everybody out. I heard a great story, though. A year later, they designed a fire truck Christmas ornament because D.C. Fire Department #1 came and put it out. So they commemorated them with a fire truck ornament the following year.
And that's the ornament?
That's the Christmas ornament this year?
This year, yeah.
Very cool. The things we get to talk about that no other cities in baseball do.
Pretty cool.
Sneaking suspicion, it was just a hunch that he might win.
Did his eyes start the fire?
No, but they can penetrate steel and knock down concrete. There it is.
There it is. I like it. I want one. I had the one last year up on my tree, which could have caught on fire, by the way. I think it just died in 2 days, just like my chia pet.
3-0. 4-pitch walk. 2 on, nobody out. Next up, Anthony Rendon. Next 5 ball games, and 3 of them are here. The Nats against the Brewers tomorrow at 11 o'clock. The Nats didn't see Junior Guerra first time around in Milwaukee, but he's 5-1. He faces Max Scherzer. Gio Gonzalez against right-hander Zach Davies. The Nats owe him one. Right-hander Tanner Roark, right-hander Matt Garza. Then it's on to New York for 4 games right before the All-Star break.
The game's at 31 o'clock tomorrow.
Or as some of your buddies would say, or just plain 1100.
It's 11 o'clock.
Cool. Anthony Rendon is now in the top 10 in the league in walks. And this is a batter that, as a rule, hits 7th, sometimes 6th in the lineup. So he has 50 runs scored and 40 bases on balls. And they walked him his first time today. The Reds have penciled him in this series, either accidentally or on purpose, because I've got him with 6 walks in this 4-game series. First 2 times up Thursday. 3rd and 4th times up Friday. And he walked as a pinch hitter last night. +1 today. Lamb asking for trouble here in the 4th inning. 2-0 now. And Anthony's going to make him throw at least 2 strikes. Going to make him throw at least 3. Good take. He almost went fishing. Bases loaded in 1 more ball. Rendon looking for something to work with here to maybe bust this game open. 4th inning. Danny Espinosa on deck. That may influence what he sees here. And they walk him again. 3 times in this inning, Lamb has given free passes. Walking Rendon twice today, and that's 7 in the series.
So to swing or not to swing, that's Danny Espinosa's only dilemma right now. Bases loaded, nobody out. His 2nd career grand slam the other night, right-handed. And everybody on their feet here at Nats Park, they want another one.
Hey, how many stadiums really get excited when they announce the number 8 hitter? in the National League. Base hit to left, first time up. Danny in the series 4 for 14, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. And he was up there hacking.
Here's the grand slammer Rooney on Friday. Fastball up and away, and he pulls it.
Wow.
Over the bullpen. Strong like bull. See you later. Absolutely. And the first curtain call for Danny Espinosa. How many players in the big leagues this year have had 2 curtain calls in the same game? I'm calling that's a small number.
Back-to-back at bats.
Back-to-back at bats.
He's really starting to like the bases loaded thing here. Look at those RBIs. 1-0 Nationals, 1-3-0 Nats. Nothing doing for the Reds offensively.
You know why he likes the bases loaded a lot like Bryce does? He knows they have to pitch to him now. When you're hitting 8th, hey, I don't know if they're pitching to me. They got a base open. What are they doing? He's a normal hitter right now. He has protection. His protection is there's nowhere to put him.
Ramos to lead off the inning. Zimmerman right behind him. Rendon on a full count. And Danny spotting those really slow curveballs pretty early and not coming close to biting. The count's 2-1. Now a huge pitch for John Lamb. What does he do? '89 probably played quicker after those curveballs.
Pretty big swing here as we've expected from Danny. That was by him. You see where the ball was in relationship to his barrel, and you see a couple of slow pitches and then a little bit behind on that one. Maybe got too big. It slows your swing down when you swing too hard at times.
Yeah, borderline pitch. You cannot get called down on strikes with the pitcher coming up. So Danny hacking to stay alive.
It's a pretty big at bat.
That's a rubber game. This one may set the tone for the rest of the day. Outfield straightaway. 2-2. Curveball, left field. Has he done it again? Yes! See you later for another grand slam. One series, 13 RBIs.
He's no longer the 8th hitter. He's the second cleanup hitter. I think they want to see Danny again on the top step.
Why not? Third career grand slam. Here's Strasburg in a 5-0 game just like that.
He's double cleanup guy. That's what he is. Unbelievable. 106 miles an hour. He took some nasty curveballs. He fouled off a borderline fastball to get to that pitch. He's not just the best 8th hitter in baseball. He's one of the best players in baseball right now. Unbelievable June and now July that Danny Espinosa is having.
Look at this series. 13 RBIs gets him up to 47 on the year. Homer number 17 for the team lead. Strasburg, big curveball. He'll strike out. Steven, that's fine. Go get a breather. You're up 5-0. Danny Espinosa has now hit 7 home runs from the right side of the plate to go with 10 from the other side.
I'll just say this about Danny. He's always been confident. There's been times when I've talked to him and I said, how are you so confident, to myself? Because the numbers just didn't back up his confidence level. And he's always believed in himself. And now you're starting to see a guy that believed he was a big league shortstop the whole time he was playing second base. Now he is a big league shortstop. And he's been hitting 8th. So with nobody protecting him except for the bases loaded, you see how he's fooled on the changeup, but keeps his hands back, goes deep. I mean, just the evolution of Danny as a player. He's always been a hard hat, lunch pail, hard-nosed guy. Last year we said the Nats win when he's in the lineup, and they don't when he's not. And now he's got the numbers to back up the play. It's been fun to watch the evolution.
Taylor left side. Suarez able to get him. 2 down.
It's July 3rd. Danny Espinosa has 17 home runs. Come on. Is that any good?
Well, suddenly he's on a pace for over 90 RBIs.
Might have been a cutter, but he was still fooled on the speed, kept his hands back. How about another grand slam? 2nd of the series, 3rd of his career. Wrap your head around that one.
And the first one was in the first week of his career back in 2010. Worth called out on strikes twice. Probably wants to hack before he sees that curveball again. Here's another note on Danny. He's now been on base 14 of his last 28 plate appearances. On base percentage around .340 now, and we've never really talked about Danny in those terms.
I just think it's cool that when everybody in this town was clamoring for another shortstop early in the season, that Dusty Baker said, he's my shortstop and he's going nowhere, sorry.
Yeah.
And everybody thought that Dusty was nuts.
Wow. Big hook. So now we can tell you that the 4th inning of Nationals baseball is brought to you by the RAV4 Hybrid. All-wheel drive and unexpected performance. Visit buyatoyota.com today. Yeah, it's the 4th inning. Lamb has 4 walks, and then Espinosa takes 1 swing and brings home 4 runs. To the 5th, 5-0. Washington. Espinosa emerging. Great season for Wilson Ramos emerging. And then you put those guys into the nucleus of this ball club, and suddenly that power zone, as we call it, has gotten a whole lot bigger. Top of the 5th, Billy Hamilton against Steven Strasburg. Breaking ball of beauty for strike 1. Steven, first 4 innings, 62 pitches, 40 strikes. Struck out Billy first time up. Since Billy Hamilton came off the DL, he's hitting under 180. 1 for 11 against the Nats this weekend. Strasburg with a crackling 94, and the count's 1-2.
So Danny has 13 home runs out of the number 8 spot in the order. No other player in the big leagues has more than 6. I just wish, I hope I'm conveying it to fans the right way, how hard it is to hit 8th. I mean, he's making it look easy, but it is so hard. Just how they pitch you, it's different patterns. They're pitching you like you're Babe Ruth because the pitcher's on deck. So he might as well be the 2nd, 4th hitter hitting 8th, the way he's been pitched all year, but he's handled it. He's learned how to adapt to it, and he's flourished. It's just such a commodity. That's why Dusty's not going to move him out of the 8th spot. No matter what anybody thinks, lead him off, hit him 4th, whatever, it's not going to happen because Dusty has a guy that knows how to hit in that spot, which, in my opinion, is the most difficult place to hit in baseball.
I think you've been conveying that for a number of years, how tough it is to hit there, and now we're seeing stuff that you just don't understand how he can do it. That's a swing and a foul. Hamilton got a piece of it.
The only thing I'm concerned about is that he's going to get the Bryce Harper treatment hitting 8th. I mean, any chance any manager has to walk Danny, they're going to now. I mean, he has 17 home runs. He's proven how dangerous he is. When I say he's on pace to hit 30, I don't know if teams are going to let him hit 30.
Hamilton, Rendon, up to his right with a backhand stab. As we mentioned, having a Gold Glove year at 3rd. And he robs Billy Hamilton of at least 2 bases.
Can you give 2 Gold Gloves at 3rd?
You might have to.
Nolan Arenado has 1 error this year, and everyone was tweeting me the other night all of his defensive stats, and they're amazing. But I'm obviously biased because I get to see this guy play every day, and if I was the Rockies color analyst, I'd probably be saying the same thing about Arenado. But Anthony Rendon, with 3 errors on the year, 2 were bad calls. So he has 1 error in my book, too.
Yeah, agreed. Strike 2, Ramon Cabrera. 8th hitting Red, the catcher. Fly ball to center field, first time. One and two. Offer made by the hitter. Looked like he stopped. Counts 2-2. Kind of interesting when you think about today in Strasburg. The only pitches that he's really missed by any kind of margin were with the count either 0-2 or 1-2. He's showing guys some different things, but he's been way ahead as a rule. John Lamb, the pitcher, is on deck. And now it's ball 3. He has walked 3 today. Votto twice. Heading to the airport soon. You better get the WUSA 9 app. Metro closing part of the blue and yellow lines. So get details on the WUSA 9 app. It's free in the App Store. Great to have them with us today on a holiday Sunday afternoon. Here's a 3-2 with 1 out. Strasburg brings that breaking ball back in. Murphy charges. And Strasburg now has retired 13 of the last 14 Reds.
The freight train's rolling downhill right now, folks. He's got the rhythm. He is cruising. Join us for our first Budweiser and Burger music party. Saturday, July 9th at Nats Park, featuring 80s, 90s, 2000s as cover bands. Live music from noon to 5. Tickets are $20 in advance, $25 at the door. Your music party ticket includes 1 Budweiser and 1 burger. Visit nationals.com/budmusic for tickets.
Yeah, 4 great cover bands coming.
0-1 to John Lamb. Struck out swinging first time on a high fastball. Danny Espinosa must be expecting a flare to left field. He's on the outfield grass. Stepped up 2 steps as the pitch was made. And now the count 1-2.
That's where he starts on every hitter. All season, watch. Starts on the grass and walks in.
Likes to come in. And
well, you want to take the lip out of the equation where the dirt meets the grass. And
outside,
honestly,
2-2.
A lot of guys start on the grass because it's more comfortable on your shoes in a warm day. It is. Dirt
Makes
gets
sense.
hot. Just feels better to stand there. Murphy's doing the same thing.
They don't need to do anything except go to the dugout now. Steven Strasburg, 4 Ks on the day, in total control and a 5-run lead.
The 17th homer of the year, a grand slam in the bottom of the 4th. Season tickets to DJ Durkin's inaugural season are on sale now. They start at just $160. Visit umterps.com or call 1-800-I-AM-A-TERP to purchase your tickets. Fear the new era, fear the turtle. DJ Durkin will be playing at a club near you.
I get it. Well, good for him and good luck to the Terps. Bryce Harper, hard ground ball base hit to right center. Then a liner to center caught by Hamilton. In the series, 4 for 12. Just keeps floating that curveball in, mid-60s. (11-1) now, Mets over the Cubs in the 5th inning. Harper to right center. See you later. 3 homers for the Nats today. And Bryce says, Danny, if you can hit 17, I'm going to tie you up in a hurry. Not a bad thing when guys motivate each other, is it?
No. Danny Espinosa had the home run lead for about 10 minutes. Please give me a hit speed on that one. That ball was punished.
Nationals have hit 111. Here's Murphy, and that's inside. The Reds have given up 141 home runs and 492 runs, by far the most in baseball. Murphy to left, base hit. And that's number 107 for him in terms of hits.
The Bash brothers doing their thing in the dugout. Danny Espinosa with a grand slam takes the momentary team lead at 17, and then Bryce Harper just pures one. I mean, that's all you could say. That's a driver on a par 5, letting it all out. And then Daniel Murphy behind him goes Wade Boggs to left.
What a power show by the DC Power Company today. Here's Ramos, homer, walk, an RBI, 2 runs scored. $110.
441.
Way inside, 2-0.
Bryce will never tell you, but I guarantee there was something deep down that said, I'm sick of giving this guy high five for home runs. I'm going to do something about that. I mean, in a great teammate sort of way. Like, hey, I'm the one that you're supposed to be giving high fives to. Watch. This guy's hugging it out.
All you need is love. 3-0. Ramos on a 3-0 pitch rams one to the scoreboard. Murphy heading for third. Bob Henley says keep going. And Wilson Ramos has another RBI on another extra base hit. The Nats lead 7-0.
Listen to the crowd. They want everybody to come out of the dugout. Offense is cool. Redskins up 7-0. This is fun. The wall below the scoreboard in right center field has accounted for 2 runs in this series. Remember Curtis Granderson having to go in because it hit below the scoreboard? Well, this one hits the chain link and kind of kicks off to the right, and Jay Bruce has to go in and get it. Daniel Murphy would have probably been held at third, but the fact that that ball hit the fence out there's a chain link fence right in front of the scoreboard that you always can't see. Kick to a side, that allowed Murphy to score and make it 7-0.
He has such a perfect swing to the opposite field.
Nats are, what are they? 16 games over, 5 games up.
Yep.
And Bryce hasn't even locked in yet. That's why I said second half of the season is going to be a fun one for him. And when Ryan Zimmerman joins the party, which he will, look out.
One of their right-handers, the Reds, that's Cavius Sampson. No 2 to Ryan, who has bounced out to third, walked and scored a run in front of the Espinosa grand slam. Way inside, 1-2. Ryan in the series, 2 for 11, 2 walks, hit by a pitch, and a big home run that got things going early Thursday night. Hits it hard, right at Suarez. First out, 5th inning. Ramos still at second. Anthony Rendon has walked 7 times in this series. That's a base hit. Stayed back beautifully in an off-speed pitch. I mean, in the same series, can a guy hit a grand slam and then a 3-run homer in his next at-bat twice? Here comes Danny.
Well, he did it left-handed last time. He'll have to be right-handed this time. And they're going to turn him around, Carp. They're going to the right-hander, so he does have a chance to do it left-handed. Ryan Price out to the mound. There's the grand slam we showed you a bunch of times, and it's fun to watch. That was a big flaw and a curtain call. His third of the series. Don't sleep on 3 curtain calls in one series either.
5 strikeouts, 4 walks by John Lamb in 4 1/3 when he gave up 8 hits, 92 pitches. Stop by the UPS store for all your printing, copying, and other business needs. Because together, there's nothing we can't solve. It's our UPS store. Call to the bullpen.
Today, why wouldn't you be smiling with a big lead against the Reds day before? The 4th of July Sunday Smiles are brought to you by Hair Cuttery, home of the Smile Back Guarantee. No small print, just big smiles.
Now that's it for John Lamb. 92 pitches in 4 1/3 innings. He will be replaced by 25-year-old Kivas Sampson, called up from Louisville, 3rd stint with the Reds this year. And Sampson takes over here in a situation with 2 men on, 1 out. In the 4th inning, he has made 5 appearances, high ERA, 11 walks, 11 hits in 9 2/3 innings. So the Reds just searching for anybody who can get people out. None of the Nats have ever faced him. Here's Danny. 2 for 2 today in the series, 5 for 15 with a ridiculous 13 RBIs. Figured you might see first pitch fastball. Couldn't get to the 91.
I'll get you his arsenal in a second. I've misspelled Kivas 4 times already.
I Googled Sampson and Jason Worth came up. 0-1 with 1 out.
That was my real TV laugh, by the way.
Okay.
So fastball, slider, curveball change, 4 pitches. Fastball 93.
Nothing Nationals. Espinosa base hit. Why not? 14 RBIs against the Reds. 8-0. Ramos home.
When you're in the zone like Danny Espinosa as a player, there's just no tension in anything you do. It's a tension-free game. The key in baseball is to control your adrenaline, relax, and kind of be an athlete out there without the tension and the stress that comes along with being a big league player every day and grinding for hits. When you have home runs, you start to get confidence, you're relaxed, you have a tension-free swing. It's fun to watch him play.
Strasburg squares early.
And I'm thinking when your third hitter, who's the reigning MVP, and your eighth hitter are fighting for the home run lead, that's the sign of a pretty good team.
Well, if you look at championship teams over the years, there's always one or two guys in that particular year who go way beyond what they've done in other years.
Yeah.
And right now there are two of them. One's a catcher and one's a shortstop. Strasburg had to kind of bend back from that one coming up and in. And the count 0-2. Whoop. It got bat. 5 hits in the inning. Lamb responsible for one more base runner out there. Rendon at second. Up and in. Thought Steven might still be bunting with 2 strikes, and he might, but he didn't show any sign of squaring there.
Yeah, if you're wondering why they're bunting up 8-0 with Steven, I don't think Dusty wants him to swing. Although his batting practice the other day, he was hitting bombs to left field, left and right. So.
Good fielding crowd.
We have a great fielding crowd. It's the second standing O on a foul ball today. They're into it. I love it.
That big crowd here could be close to 40,000 today. It's going to be in the high 30s. 1-2 with 1 out. A lot of folks come to the ball game on this day and then head over to the National Mall because they have some rehearsals on Sunday evening for the musical acts that'll be performing tomorrow. A lot of people get to enjoy that. Pretty loud here at the ballpark right now. 2-2, 1 out. Strasburg will bounce to Phillips, turned by Cozart, and a 4-6-3. So after 5 innings, the Reds still searching for offense. Bryce Harper got this particular inning going with a home run over the scoreboard. Then they scored 2 more, and yes, Espinoza got another RBI. To you by T-Mobile. CJ Cron, Carlos Perez, Angels, a struggling ball club, but they each had 5 hits and 5 RBIs in a ball game. Hasn't happened in, is that 80 years? Chris Sale keeps rolling along, 14-2, first 14-game winner. And Jake Arrieta knocked out by the Mets last night. So last 6 road starts, 3-3, ERA over 4. It's all brought to you by T-Mobile as we take a quick tour around the major leagues.
John Lester went an inning and a third today and gave up 8 runs on 9 hits.
Wow. Home run guys, the catcher, the shortstop, and the right fielder. I almost couldn't spit out shortstop because he has 17 home runs. As a rule, guys at that position don't do that, and Danny's going to have a great season. Cozart, Peraza, Votto, top of the 6th. Steven Strasburg's retired 14 of the last 15 Reds. Cozart a walk in the first, bouncer to Rendon in the 3rd. Target in. Rendon right there. 1 out.
I'll tell you what, you got to be on your toes and anticipating the ball at all times at third base. It gets on you quick. That was a 103-mile-an-hour line drive. Boom. I'm ready. I always thought the toughest plays at third were from left-handed hitters. It just doesn't look like they can hit you the ball over there.
Here's Peraza 0 for 2. Hot shot. Espinosa! He's doing it all! Danny Espinosa, 2 outs in the 6th. Floating in the air and using that tremendous arm.
I mean, I'm just smiling up here. What else? Just watch.
Now Joey Votto.
Unreal. Just doing it all. He's in the zone.
Votto, the only Red on base twice. Walk in the 1st, walk in the 4th.
Just fully outstretched. That's the hard part now with the arm strength. The jump, Derek Jeter-like throw. And gave Ryan Zimmerman a nice long hop to pick on top of it.
Cincinnati Reds box score, 3 walks. Votto stepping out on a 2-1.
So I'm going through shortstops in my head right now, so help me out, Carp. Brandon Crawford.
Tulowitzki.
I'm talking Gold Glove in the National League. They should have phrased it a little better. Brandon Crawford, the reigning Gold Glove. Danny with 7 errors, but gets to more balls than most. I'm sure his analytic defensive rating is off the charts.
Yeah, and remember, Andrelton Simmons is out of the league now.
Echeverria, maybe? Addison Russell. I'm trying to think of his competition for a Gold Glove at short.
Asdrubal Cabrera, pretty slick with the Mets.
He's getting to whatever's hit at him. He doesn't have any range at this point in his career. I mean, he's a solid shortstop. He's going to make the routine play, but they don't compare, in my opinion.
Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 6th inning.
I don't know how he does that. Say, I don't like this pitch. I'm going to foul it off. This isn't the greatest 95-mile-an-hour fastball location-wise. I'll just foul it off.
Three-two pitch.
Yeah, didn't like that one either.
91 on a slider.
Yeah.
How's the ball coming out of his hand today?
Good.
Another long at bat by Joey Votto, tracked by Nissan here. And Strasburg's going to get him on a pop-up. Anthony Rendon. 9 straight, 17 of 18. We're halfway through the 6th inning.
Nationals bullpen has been pretty effective over the last few weeks, and they're about to get a key reinforcement. Jonathan Papelbon set to come off the disabled list probably within the next day or two after Papelbon pitched back-to-back appearances for AA Harrisburg over the last 2 days. 2 scoreless innings for Pap in that stretch, and now the Nationals will need to decide who goes down in order to bring him up. Only 3 guys currently in their bullpen, fellas, have options and can be sent to the minors without needing to be exposed to waivers. Blake Trinan, Felipe Rivero, and Sammy Solis are those 3 guys.
All right, thanks for the update, Dan. Things to think about. And for a manager and a GM, good problems to have. Don't miss some of the biggest Coons July 4th savings on cars ever. Find out more at Coons.com. Michael A. Taylor trying to join the fun today. Kind of unusual. The Nats have 8 runs on 9 hits, and their first 2 batters are 0 for 6. But Harper, Murphy, Ramos, Rendon, and Espinosa have been outstanding today. Strike call. It's a fastball that would handcuff you. From Kivas Sampson. It's from Gainesville. Originally drafted by San Diego. And a swing. And a strikeout. 1 out, 6th inning. Nats box score. Where do you start? How about the number 3 spot? Bryce 2 for 3. Murphy a hit, his 107th. Ramos 2 RBIs, 2 extra base hits, a walk. Rendon on base 3 times. Danny Espinosa again the story. 3 for 3, 5 RBIs, including his 3rd career grand slam after Lamb walked 3 batters in the 4th inning. 4 runs on 1 hit.
Just thinking, which is scary, Steven Strasburg's first start back.
Yeah.
How long do you go with him here?
93 pitches.
I mean, you know what I'm talking about, but you got to be a big pitcher guy here, right? 10 pitches an inning would get him to 123.
It's a lot.
I just, big pitcher, right?
Yeah. 2-1.
I'm a big pitcher guy. I know we all get caught up in the moment as fans, and things are so exciting. We want to tell our friends about big pitchers. Far more important, in my opinion. We'll see. I wouldn't want to be Dusty Baker right now.
Worth is aboard. Nats have been issued 5 walks today.
Nats fans, you can spend the summer with us right here at Nats Park with the Summer Saver Pack. You buy 3 2016 regular season games. We got to write "by" here one time. It says "but." And you get 1 free. Some restrictions apply. Visit nationals.com/summer for all the details. Having a talk. How you feeling? Freight train's rolling. Looking good.
Bryce has hit the ball hard 3 times today. Batting average now over the last 26 games right around 300. He's over 260 again. And 5 hits in the weekend series with 2 batted in. A weekend series that goes back to Thursday. Left field line and going foul.
Oh, nice grab.
Wow, we don't even need leather today.
This went all Kevin Mitchell on us with the left hand. Nice play, dude. America.
I don't think he lost 1 dipping dot on that catch.
He didn't. He didn't spill. That's the key here, yeah. Look at ice cream in the right hand, left hand, not a problem. Back to crushing.
1-1 pitch to Harper. 2-1. And a check swing.
We just went Joey Votto. Did you see that?
Thinking the same thing.
I'm on TV. They showed you catching it, and then they showed you crushing your ice cream within seconds after making a great play.
And they're talking about you right now again.
They got his ticket in his left hand. Those are good seats right there. I like those.
Yeah. That's that little section, that little triangle that turns back toward the field. Got to be alert down there. 2-2 pitch. Way inside, and Bryce had nowhere to go. That was a curveball, mid-70s. So 2 on, 1 out. You don't have to boo the pitcher on that one.
Those still hurt, though, man. The
Yeah.
curveball's spinning your knee for about 2 seconds before they hit the ground. Everyone says, "Oh, it's just a curveball," and you're saying it because there's no intent there. But I think that got him on his shin guard, so that's a good thing.
Bryce Harper hit for the kind of surprising only 3rd time this year. Strike to Murphy. Having a discussion with Adrian Johnson about it. He's hit the ball hard enough to have 2 hits today, but on the shift they had Suarez out in right field a couple of innings ago. Then a clean single to left after the Harper homer. This one to the right of Suarez, can't get it. Another hit for Murphy. Harper to 3rd. Worth has scored. Everybody is safe, and it's 9-0. Daniel Murphy, 108 base hits, and RBI number 56.
Well, we had a rough night last night. You knew somebody had to pay today. I know if you're Brian Price, you're probably hoping that your 3rd baseman dove for this ball, but maybe it surprised him like I was talking about. When left-handers hit the ball to 3rd, it always looks weird. But the Nats are playing like they did in game 1 of this set. Remember when they were running all over the place, everybody dirty? It was the hardest game we've seen them play in a long time. Maybe that was against the Mets, the first game against Syndergaard, but this is reminding me of that game.
Inside the numbers, they keep piling up. Wilson Ramos now. So highest average for catchers in the franchise history before the All-Star game. I mean, even Kid Carter never hit close to 340. And Gary was an outstanding offensive player. Pudge 6 years ago. Chris Widger on the list from '99.
Kid.
Miss him. Ramos takes a bullet to the inside edge. On base 3 times today, 3 runs scored. Power numbers now 13 homers, 46 batted in.
Got to get greedy in games like this. There's going to be nights where you face the big boys that do what they're supposed to do. And a couple more runs here is big, because with an 11 a.m. game tomorrow, Dusty will have a chance to get some of his starters off their feet.
On base 16 in a row. Ramos has hit safely in 14 of those games. So on the rare occasions when he doesn't get base hits, he has at least moved the line here and there. Runner at third. 1 out, runner at first. Wilson hitting .379 this year with runners in scoring position. 4th best in the league. He's just taking really nice swings.
I mean, you wouldn't think in a 9-0 game there's a developing storyline that's worth sticking around for, but there definitely is in a lot of different ways.
One and two. A bullet to Phillips. Good job by Murphy of staying home. Brandon Phillips put that throw almost right on the back of his helmet. 2 outs. When you have insight, you know how to handle your finances with confidence. Brought to you by PNC Bank. For the achiever in you, Max Schrock is from Tacoma, Washington. Went to South Carolina, 21 years of age, and look at what he's doing offensively. Recently promoted. Big numbers for Max Schrock. This ball popped up. Phillips and now Votto off the bat of Zimmerman. So another run for the Nats in the 6th, and it's 9-0. New contour. Get right to the good stuff. Another big day for Wilson Ramos as we summarize everything. Couple of extra base hits, 2 RBIs. Danny Espinosa, another career day, 5 RBIs for him, 14 in the series, and Steven Strasburg is still in total control of this game. Bizarre situation. Lucas Giolito, thumbs up. Go get him, Steven. And my, how has he? 6 innings, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. And I can't think of anything else he's doing. 9 in a row retired, 17 of the last 18. The Nats have a couple of defensive changes. Those in a moment. As Strasburg faces Jay Bruce. Chris Heisey, left field. Stephen Drew, second base, and he's in right field on the shift. Looks like they're straight up changes. Every time it's 2 strikes, you can hear the fans start to react. Bruce, a foul out to third, a swinging strike in the 4th. And a 1-2. Swing, a tip, and a strikeout. 1 out, 7th inning.
So there's been some help from Steven's friends today. A couple of hard hit balls with some good plays. Anthony Rendon getting the force out there at second. That was a nice play. And then Billy Hamilton hitting one to Anthony Rendon. So a couple of line drives to the Nats third baseman. And then this one by Danny Espinosa's. The play of the day to this point.
Strasburg throwing 96 in the 7th inning. Suarez a fly ball to right, ground ball to third. And now the next pitch will get him to 100. Last time Steven pitched 105 against the Cubs, June 15th. That 114 way back in April against Minnesota. 2-1 pitch. Just missed. Strasburg will pitch out of the stretch for the first time since the 4th inning.
And in case you're wondering, that ring you heard is the bullpen phone.
Here's Brandon Phillips. Line drive to center, ground ball to Rendon.
Another good play by somebody.
Blake Trinan up now. Best thing in the world for Steven and the Nats right here would be a ground ball at somebody. Trying to get this 7th inning to a close.
On this pitch.
That one skips, and that's a wild pitch. That'll take the double play out of order as Suarez goes to second.
We've been fighting the changeup all day, but everything else has been in check. It's the only pitch he hasn't had a feel for. Slider's been good, curveball been good, fastball's been great. He's done that about 2 or 3 times, I believe, with the changeup today, and that's just a feel thing and a rust thing.
Phillips to right, going foul. We had another catch. Come on.
Fans are on top of it today. You can be on top of it too. Last day, submit your challenge for Max Scherzer. I tweet you, you can do anything, I can do better. Max will be happy to face off head-to-head with you guys. Brought to you by Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield. Live fearless with the name trusted for over 75 years.
Only thing is, it's like a boxing match. You have to stare him down first.
Or just challenge him to a boxing match.
1-2. It's a little unusual that the pitch count's so high. 3 walks, 5 strikeouts all day, but the Reds have had some long at-bats. Peraza had 10 pitches. The first man Steven ever retired today, back in the first. 2-2 with 1 out. Phillips staying alive.
Foul balls are the enemy right now.
Yeah, there have been a lot of them. Thanks, Joey Votto. Thanks, Brandon Phillips. Guys who know how to stay alive. Phillips to the right side for Murphy, or rather Drew now. 2 outs. Over to third, Suarez. And Dusty's going to come out, and you're going to hear a thunderous walk-off here for Steven Strasburg.
He's talking to him. He hasn't made a motion yet.
We'll see. The infield thinks he's going.
There it is.
So we weren't sure he was going to pitch today. Then he goes out and does not give up a hit for 6 2/3. Presented by Authority. Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Washington Nationals. Steven Strasburg, 109 pitches, 70 strikes, a no-hitter through 6 2/3. Pitch count mounting, lopsided game. Dusty gets him out, and here comes Blake Treinen. 37th appearance.
I mean, he had to. Off the disabled list, you can't stretch him out. We talked about it earlier, big pitcher.
Yeah.
Would we all want to see Steven Strasburg throw a no-hitter? Yeah. But if I'm Steven, I'm taking Lucas Giolito to my next start in the bullpen. And having him sit right in that chair he was sitting in again today.
Lucas probably thinking, I had a nice debut, but I'm not sure I could have done what that guy just did.
What about the nerves? Everybody having fun now, but Lucas with one big league start sitting on the bullpen day going, am I starting? Is it going to be me? Is it going to be him? What are we doing here? I don't know.
Starting to look like him Thursday at New York. We'll see.
When you're around guys every day for 6 years, you can tell the mannerisms. And just in the first inning, I could be way off here, and it's obviously speculation. It looked like Steven was just feeling it. Like, am I good? Am I not good? I didn't feel anything yet. Just testing it out, basically. Test driving the car that just got fixed. And then after he's like, okay, I got this. It was all downhill from there.
Fair ball. Ryan Zimmerman. Time to stretch. What a day for the offense. And a great comeback for Strasburg.
Bottom of the 7th, just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite, and we're gonna let DJ Taters show you what happened here today.
Only thing I know is go hard or go home. Y'all can't stop me when I'm in my zone. Main objective to be the best. Beheading soldiers for the rest. Let them know I'ma swing for the fences. I'ma hit a home run. I'ma knock it out the park. I'ma swing for the fences. I'ma hit a home run. Home run.
Yes, I love it.
On deck, Danny Espinosa.
Yes.
It'll be Rendon, then Danny, and then we'll see if it's Blake Treinen or somebody else that gets a chance to hit.
Tell you what, if Danny elevated his last base hit, he would have had home runs from both sides. Again, he is feeling it, and don't count that out. Might have been the hardest ball he hit all day.
So Kiva Sampson's still out there for the Reds. Nats trying to make this a 6-1 homestand and win their 7th out of 8, going back to the getaway win a week ago today in Milwaukee.
Kevin Franzen texted me during the break, and he was saying, what about Espinosa for the All-Star team? And I said, well, I think Addison Russell's voted in. Then you have Corey Seager's probably going to be the Dodgers representative. Brandon Crawford's having a nice year. So 17 home runs is 17 home runs, though.
Yeah. You know, and by a week from today or a week from tomorrow, there are always things that happen at the very end. You know, guys have this or that going on physically, can't make it to the All-Star game. Sometimes last-minute replacements, that's just as good as being voted in, right? Just to be there, be a part of it.
Heck yeah, are you kidding me?
So who knows? Tell Kevin hi for us.
Nah. I didn't even respond.
Yes, you did. You're not going to big league Kevin Franzen. Come on.
If I'm Terry Collins, I want to win the game. That's who I'm picking, guys that are going to help me win the game. When you talk about whether Max Scherzer is going to be an all-star or not, if I want to win the game, I'm putting Max on my team. I don't know how the DL thing is going to affect Steven Strasburg's selection, but he's looking to go 11-0, and you can't really argue with that.
Could be 12-0. He'll have another start. Strasburg would start on Friday, which would have him very well rested for the following Tuesday, and that comes into play too.
Kershaw on the DL.
One thing at a time, though. He was great today. Rendon lifting one to left. How far is this one? See you later. Anthony Rendon, number 8. And the Nats are up 10-0.
DJ Taters has magical powers, I'm telling you. He really does.
Well, the lyrics don't say swinging to make contact. Espinosa next. The Nats have hit 112 home runs.
Just shortened up his swing a lot in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and you see the results. He's not taking his hands back as far as he did early in the season. He just kind of got a little circle there, firing the hands, and stay tuned for this guy hitting. Who knows what's going to happen right here.
Rendon's 41st career. Danny Espinosa has now hit 85. And that one tailing away, unreachable. 1 ball, 1 strike. 5th time the Nats this year in a ball game have hit 4 home runs or more. Couldn't stop. Strike 2. .284, 14 home runs in 36 games. Two and two. Not to be lost in all this, Danny spitting on some pitches lately that have been maybe ones he fished for earlier. Getting a share of singles all over the field too now, as well as the doubles and home runs. I mean, single to left today. There goes another high fly ball to right center. He has homered again. Danny Espinosa 4 for 4. 2 homers today. And in this series, 15 runs batted in. 15.
Are you kidding me? Just took the lead back from Bryce. 18 home runs. 1 right, 1 left. He'd never done it before, and now he's done it twice in this homestand. Are you kidding me?
The Nats go back-to-back for the 10th time this year.
I'm telling you, that single he hit last time up, if he elevated it, was a homer. He just elevated it. It was a homer.
Clint Robinson batting for Blake Trinan here. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody with 15 RBIs in one series. 3-game, 4-game, whatever.
He is in the zone, locked in, whatever you want to call it. It's a place you don't get to very often as a major league player. But when you get there, everything's moving slow. You're swinging at balls, you're swinging at strikes, you're squaring everything up. If it's way out of the zone, you're taking it. Doesn't matter. He's just absolutely locked in and barreling everything up. Game moving slow. And you're seeing the true athletic ability of a guy that we've always known has had tremendous amounts of potential, and he's reaching it right in front of your eyes.
I mean, 6 more RBIs today. Michael A. Taylor looking to drop one into center. Cozart will get there. 2 outs. Potomac Nationals back home tomorrow. Fun, food, fireworks, fun. That's all tomorrow. Sounds like every day. Danny Espinosa Fu Manchu bobblehead giveaway next Saturday. How good does that timing look? Golf night on Sunday the 10th, and a special themed jersey auction Dollar Monday the 11th. Join him at the Fitz. You'll have a blast.
I mean, it's a guy that never homered from both sides in his career. Did it the other night, just did it again today. He's got 18 home runs. His average is approaching 250. He's an all-star. Terry Collins, if you're watching, he's going to help you win the game if you take him. I mean, talk about a last-minute addition. I don't care who's out there. He's played Gold Glove shortstop all year. Now he has 18 home runs. He's right up there in the league leaders all of a sudden. And he's hitting 8th.
This ball will drop into left field, and the former Red Chris Heisey will check in with a hit. And he's been there, done that this series. Chris now 3 for 7 against the Reds.
And DJ Tater's good for 2 more home runs, by the way. So Chris Bryant with 23 and Lamb and Gonzalez with 18. So now Danny Espinosa in the league leaders of home runs. Oh, wow. You're going to catch him right here.
One-0 pitch to Harper. Got under it. Jay Bruce. Finally, the outfielders see one that they can reach. Rendon and Espinosa go back-to-back. Danny's done it from the right side with a grand slam. From the left side with a solo. Rendon got the party going in the 7th. And there's the swing that we've seen so much lately. The Nats crushing the Reds. Baseball on Masson, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Proudly serving the armed forces and their families for over 80 years, federally insured by NCUA. By Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. And by Ocean City, Maryland. Let us show you a good time in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at OCOcean.com.
Where's the Espinosa jersey?
They're printing them as we speak, and a new order has just been submitted. So those guys go back to back. A couple of other defensive changes we'll bring you up to date on in a moment. Here's Matt Belisle. Cabrera. Two and 0. Matt's been throwing the ball pretty well since his return. Goes 3-0 right there. "36-year-old right-hander making his 15th Nats appearance, sporting an ERA under 2. Got the outside edge. Mercedes-Benz will track it. Cabrera left side. Even Espinosa can't reach that. And the fans, some of them booing as the Reds get their first hit of the day. We can now tell you there have been 12 combined no-hitters in Major League Baseball since records were started in 1913, and today will not be the 13th.
Well, I usually don't say it for the visiting team, but there goes the no-hitter. I don't know about you, but combined no-hitters don't really turn me on a whole lot. I mean, it's not like I'm sitting here whacked. I didn't really care.
Not sure we've ever covered one of those.
When it's somebody's personal accomplishment, it's a huge deal. But when it's a bunch of guys, I don't know.
Ben Revere, by the way, is hitting 9th on the double switch. Chopper left side. Rendon on the charge and on the run throws out Tyler Hope. 1 out.
Not an easy play right here. He makes them all look easy, though. Throw right on the money. What new?
Yeah, when you have guys like Hall of Fame broadcaster Marty Brenneman coming up during the weekend and say, hey, I love your kid at third base, that's telling you something. Those guys have seen a lot of ball, a lot come and go, and he's as good as anybody right now. That's in there to Zach Cozart from Belisle. Tried to come front door with that curveball. It stayed inside.
Just got to keep the Nats off Fox. They win 120 games. I think they're 0-3 this year on Saturday Night Baseball.
And a ball slapped out to center. Coming around third and holding is Cabrera on a base hit by Zach Cozart. His 4th of this series in 17 at-bats. Heading to the airport soon? Then WUSA 9 has an app for you. You better get it. It's the WUSA 9 app, free in the App Store, because the Metro is closing part of the blue and yellow lines coming up. Get details from our friends at WUSA 9.
Is that the Jerry Hairston app?
You got 3 airports to choose from.
Might have been your best line ever. Oh.
You folks might remember the Nats traded him at the deadline, 3-4 years ago, and he said he couldn't wait to get out of D.C. and I simply stated he had a choice, and as quickly as he wanted to leave.
That's funny.
Here's Jose Peraza. Thanks for that reminder.
You're welcome.
Wow, that's a rocket up the middle. Now the Reds are on the board, 3 hits and 4 at-bats against, it's been a while, a former teammate, Matt Belisle. Joey Votto is next. Nats want to get this one over with as quickly and cleanly as possible. Oliver Perez is up and throwing, and then have all the horses at the gate for the 11:05 first pitch tomorrow morning. Brewers will be in town. They're trailing 1-0 early at St. Louis right now. And the Nats got this good streak going with a getaway day win. They won it by a shade in Milwaukee last Sunday. Outside edge to Joey Votto. 0 for 1, 2 walks today. Nats fans chanting, "Swing the bat." He does. Be careful what you ask for, but it's going to tail back to Chris Heisey. 2 down. The Nats have only walked him twice in the series. They just happen to both be today. Check out MLB.TV Premium, #1 live streaming sports service. You can watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. You get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for baseball. Blackout, other restrictions apply. MLB.TV to check it out. Here's Jay Bruce. Bruce 0 for 3 today in the series, 2 for 17. Nats have taken a hot bat and cooled it off.
Light rain here at the yard. Nothing crazy.
When the Reds came to town, Jay Bruce was on a 6-game hitting streak, and now it's 0-2. This one's been an official ball game since Steven Strasburg struck out John Lamb in the 5th inning. By that time, the Nats led 5-0. They've gone way beyond it.
There it is. I don't know what kind of poncho that is, but it's working.
Belisle, off-speed pitch for the strikeout. Reds get a run on 3 hits. But the Nats have done big things in this one today. 11-1 against the Reds. Now they're front and center, those Espinosa jerseys. series, a new opponent tomorrow, and a new 4th of July. Can't wait for all the great pageantry here at the ballpark. 11:05 first pitch. That's extra 2:30 or 10:30. And this season, Max Scherzer 9-5, so double digits in the offering for him. Coming off a great outing. 10 strikeouts, shut out the Mets for 7 1/3 last time out. And Junior Guerra for the Brewers, he's 5-1. Nats haven't seen him. 31 years of age and off to a good start. Here's 32-year-old Jumbo Diaz.
Fastball slider. Fastball average is 96. And Scooter Gennett's going to be here tomorrow. Remember how we said, you know, you can't give that name to a big guy? There's no way this guy could be Scooter Diaz. No shot. Or that Scooter Gennett could be Jumbo Gennett.
Bottom of the 8th. Stephen Drew, first at bat today, came in to play second base, giving Daniel Murphy the rest of the day off on the heels of another multi-hit game for Murphy, his 35th of the year. That ball will hit to left center. Drew puts a charge in one. Gone. The Nats have hit 5 homers for the second time this year. And this time it's Stephen Drew, 7th of the year, 15th RBI, and it's 12-1. Yeah, the Nats now 6 today. Opposite field pop.
Jose Lobaton's going to have to ice. He's taken off so many helmets today. Read Daniel Murphy's lips. He's saying, that was beautiful, man. That was beautiful. Opposite field home run. What a pretty swing by Stephen Drew.
Yeah, I was going to say, who would appreciate an opposite field bolt like that more than Daniel Murphy? Up the middle, off Jumbo Diaz, and Wilson Ramos has a 3-hit day. And the only out he made today was a line drive to the second baseman. Remember the King Felix game in Seattle on a Friday night 2 years ago?
I do.
It's the last time the Nats hit 6 homers in a game, 4 of them off Felix Hernandez. Jumbo shaken up by that. It's going to try to walk it off here.
Remember, Jordan Zimmerman stole the show that night, too. Where'd he get him? Ooh, right in the ankle. That was a bullet, too. Today's game proves my theory that BP is overrated, by the way. Nats didn't hit today. Check out Stephen Drew's Tater, the 6th of the day for the Nats. DJ Tater's definitely in the house. Mixing 6 homers. That's a pretty swing. In the way the ball's carrying, you heard the sound. You knew it had a chance. And did it just hit the top of the fence? Was I seeing that right?
I don't know. Might have skirted it. I made my call when I saw it get into the flowers and the shrubbery back there.
Fresh brew by Paprista with sugar. I said that Jonathan Papelbon was a barista the other night. He's taking it seriously.
I'll say one thing for him, whether it be at single A or the big league levels, he's nourishing the troops this week.
He is.
Big hit in Potomac the other night. Here's Ryan Zimmerman. Ryan over 3 with a walk. Bottom of the 8th inning, 12-1 Nationals. About to win their 50th game of the year. They'd have 26 at home and 24 on the road.
I'm saying this with all due respect. I don't know that I would drink the one that Jonathan Papelbon made. I might have to think twice about that.
You know, and if you did, 5 minutes later, I could look at your eyes and tell if you did.
That's the one that grows hair on bald people.
Yeah. 2-1. By the way, the Mets are doing the same thing to the Cubs right now. They're in the 9th inning there at Citi Field, and it is 14-2. A Cubs shocking 4-game sweep at the hands of the Mets. Who would have thought that when they limped out of here? And the Cubs headed for New York from Cincinnati. Most wins in baseball right now? Texas Rangers. 52. Trailing at Minnesota. Later tonight, or this afternoon, the Giants. That's going to be a couple of long throws for a 6-4-3, and Ryan beats out the relay. 1 out, 8th inning. That was Suarez, who's now playing shortstop, to Brandon Phillips.
You know, 12-1 game. You've been around for a long time and you're scuffling. And we've seen a lot of players, when they're going good, run hard to first, and when they're not going good, jog. That's all you need to see right there. Up by 11 runs, beating out a double play.
Well done, Ryan Zimmerman.
Says a lot about the man. Well, if the Nats hold on here, they have 50 wins on the season. The Cubs 51 and the Giants 51.
Giants just underway at Arizona.
Yeah, I'd like to see him hit again.
One. Anthony Rendon, a good take on a slider away.
Your double cleanup hitter.
Oh, he's going to bat again, isn't he?
Well, maybe.
Yeah. You're not going to send Zimmerman here to stay out of the double play. That could get ugly. 12-1. Jumbo Diaz misses. Ball 3 to Rendon.
I know I wouldn't charge Jumbo if he hit me.
No.
I'd run the other way. Into the Delta Club. He'd have to come get me in the Delta Club.
Behind the salad bar.
Yeah, I'd run around the salad bar a few times. I could outrun him probably. But I don't think Brian Price likes what he's seeing after Jumbo got hit. From a safety standpoint. He's asking him if he's okay. How's that ankle? You all right? Is it getting tight? I'm calling the trainer out.
Michael Lorenzen, we saw him throwing the ball extremely hard a couple of nights ago here. He's going to hand the ball and leave the game on a 3-1 count. So a little further into the Reds bullpen, and Lorenzen will have all the time he needs. Nats on top 12-1. because they will have so much to talk about. To tune into the Nats Extra Postgame Show, hosted by Johnny Holiday and Ray Knight, and presented by W.B. Mason when this one's over. So here's Lorenzen, 24-year-old right-hander from Anaheim, went to Fullerton High School, pitched at Cal State Fullerton, and he makes his second appearance in this series.
He used to be a position player too. That's why he had such a good hack the other night when he was hitting. So I have another new rule. That you and I can say no-hitter when it's a combined no-hitter. Because what are we really jinxing at that point?
Yeah.
You know, somebody just tunes in. Once the main guy's out and he leaves with a no-hitter, if it's a combined no-hitter attempt, we can say it.
Okay. Well, I think somebody beat us to the punch because an email went out today addressing that very thing, and 2 batters later it was over. I will not comment on who, but it came from level 4 of our press box. But you know, if you jinx a combined no-hitter and that's the worst thing you do all week, not a bad week.
I don't think you can jinx it though. It's a combined no-hitter. It's a no-hitter light. You know what? I really want to try that coffee on the right. I really do. By the Papelrista. Because I'm thinking that might last till the game tomorrow, and you just don't even have to sleep tonight. Just show up around 10, strap it on, go get them. 4th of July game.
Well, I don't think we can get lost in all of this offense without again really celebrating and admiring what Steven Strasburg came out and did today. He walked 2 of the first 3 men he's faced. He walked Joey Votto 3 innings later. Never did give up a hit. He walked Suarez in the 7th inning and led with a shutout going. And no hits, obviously, through 6 2/3. 109 pitches, 7 strikes. And what a big lift that is for the ball club, FP, because, you know, a couple of other guys in the rotation are struggling. Ross goes on the DL. Giolito stays for a while. But now you've got one of your big horses back.
Yeah, it's a good day all the way around.
3-1 to Anthony Rendon. He'll go right side. Zimmerman tried to get in Joey Votto's field of view. And Votto pointed to his shortstop and said, hey, make sure you step on the bag. Joey wasn't sure Suarez had gotten the bag for the force play 3-6. But of little consequence is that. Here comes Espinoza. On the day, 4 for 4, single, grand slam, RBI single, solo home run.
Game moving real slow for Danny Espinoza.
Ball gets away, and on the wild pitch, Rendon down to second base. Danny Espinoza was called up September 1st of 2010. The Nats were in Florida. He had a double in the 5th inning with an RBI. So that was his first big league at bat. His first start 2 days later at Pittsburgh, he hit his first home run, and it was opposite field, right field, against Zach Duke. Then, just 2 days later, an opposite field homer to left. And in that game, he hit his first grand slam. Did not hit another one until this homestand, and today he's hit his 3rd. And boy, did they find out the rookie could hit a fastball. That one to the right side for Joey Votto. Lorenzen takes it.
Bench him.
4 for 5. Well done, Danny Espinoza. 3 outs to get. Nationals. 1-3-0 the Reds. Top of the 9th inning, and Oliver Perez the assignment to get these final 3 outs and give the Nats 7 out of 8 since last Sunday and a 6-1 homestand so far. So for Oliver, 35th appearance, 21 innings, 26 strikeouts. Not that hittable, 18 hits. The league's only hitting .231 against him. For the Reds, 5-6-7. Eugenio Suarez, Brandon Phillips, Billy Hamilton. A little bit up and away. It's a final in New York, 14-3 Mets over the Cubs. Fastball right in there. Mets have won 4 in a row all of a sudden, all against Chicago. So they'll stay 5, get back of the Nats. Miami plays tonight. And a 1-1 pitch. Perez still pumping strikes, a swing and a foul. So Steven Strasburg is going to 11-0. Max Scherzer looking for number 10 tomorrow. That's extra 10:30. Brunch with Johnny and Ray. And then some pre-lunch baseball with Max and the boys against the Milwaukee Brewers and Junior Guerra. And Perez brings the curveball around. That thing digging. 1 out.
A great breaking ball right here. Just the drop down slider. The frisbee, if you will, that starts way off the plate and comes back. That's an easy one to give up on. A lot of guys would.
Brandon Phillips 0 for 3. 4 for 15 in the series. There's a lot of blowout stuff going on today. Toronto 17-1 over Cleveland. Indian streak came to an end yesterday, then with a thud beaten today. And Perez spotting that. Well, that's a slider at 80 for him. Spotting it well. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Nasty.
Man, not sure how far inside it ended up. Brandon Phillips, and somehow Ramos caught it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Then the fastball tailing away. Not fooled by the hook that time. Brandon Phillips has 6 home runs on the year. A number to go along with that significant, which will give you after the at-bat. Hits it well, right field, out of play. Two and two.
Is it the first time we've had an 11 o'clock 4th of July game where the team just gets into town? Because that's a tough turnaround from a travel day to get at the ballpark early. I'm thinking for the Brewers. It's usually in the middle of a series, if I remember.
Oh, okay. Like a wraparound series to Monday?
Or just, 4th of July is on a Sunday, so the team's already in town. Or the 4th of July is on a Saturday, team's already here.
Phillips to right. It's going to stay in the yard. And Brandon Phillips, it's now been 197 at-bats since his last home run in early May. That's a span of 49 ball games. Nats keep him in the yard this weekend. And Billy Hamilton will be the last hope for Cincinnati. Crowd of 37,328 here today. Hamilton 0 for 3 today in the series, 1 for 13. And Oliver Perez has some momentum going here in the 9th. Nats trying to make it 12-2 in their last 14 home games.
What did we say on the road trip? Just win on Sunday in Milwaukee and get home and everything would be okay?
Yeah, it's been more than okay. It's been really, really good. And the 0-2 pitch. Curveball, he tried to bring it back in, but it was low. There's the curveball that comes back, and this one's over. What a great weekend for the Nats. Frustrating loss last night, but that matters not now. They take 3 out of 4 against the Reds, winning today 12-1, a combined 3-hitter with Strasburg at the forefront on one side, Espinosa the other.